What's up, everybody? Welcome to the newest episode of the Debate Mates. I'm Matthew, and I am joined once again by the great Nathan Poplin.
What's good,
Nate,
y'all?
you enjoyed the All-Star weekend, or All-Star night, I should say?
I mean, I enjoyed parts, but I will definitely say I've seen better All-Star weekends and better All-Star games and stuff. So
We'll get into the All-Star weekend stuff a little bit later on our Instagram, actually. Follow us on the Instagram at the Debate Mates and on Twitter to see some more behind-the-scenes stuff. We're trying to branch out. And also, I'm going to start doing my OMG award every day, which is the best player from the night. I did that last year during the bubble, and people seem to react to it pretty well. So I'm gonna start back up with that, and maybe if I get Stretch on board, we'll start doing predictions again. But one thing at a time. So, like I said, follow us on Instagram. Make sure to subscribe. Let's get to 200 subs, and you're gonna want to subscribe because this weekend is the Debate Mates All-Star Weekend, where me, Nate, and Jack competed in a three-point shootout, a mini hoop dunk contest, a game of 21, and a skills challenge. It's going to be a lot of fun. I really hope you guys check it out. Without further ado, in the All-Star break, no games for the next couple of days. Trade deadline right around the corner. We're going to go through some teams and say what they have to do to either become a contender or make the playoffs, whatever. Nate, is there a certain team you want to start off with that you have an idea for?
that
Or
I
should we
have an
just go
idea for
team by team?
personally. Let's start off with Dallas.
Okay.
I think I really like the Mavericks. I think I'm not alone in this. I think the Mavericks are super nice, especially last year. This year a little not as good as the last year, but still pretty good, fun to watch, very entertaining. One thing I'd like to see though is they just need some better perimeter defense because right now all they really have is Kristaps who for defense period. They have Kristaps who they want to ship out for some reason. And Dory Finney-Smith, and you always get a little defensive production out of Josh Richardson. But Luka's not the best defender. Tim Hardaway is not the best defender. They can score. Tim Hardaway's a little shaky, but they just need like a star perimeter defender. If they could get like
I have a deal for you then, which I
okay.
thought about a while ago, actually. I don't know if the contracts work out exactly, but Kristaps Porzingis to the Indiana Pacers for Malcolm Brogdon and Miles Turner. Porzingis'
Ooh.
value is not as high as it used to be. Dallas would probably have to throw in a first rounder.
Yeah.
Assuming contracts work, I see that as a win-win for both teams. I don't think it's a trade that I see happening. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think Porzingis will be on the move. But Brogdon is like 6'5", 6'6" at the point guard position.
Mm-hmm.
He can guard 1 through 3, guard the other team's best perimeter player. Miles Turner is a better rim protector
Yeah.
than Porzingis and is more switchable. I just they need to just like something to rejuvenate them. Porzingis coming back, maybe that's the start of it. They're over 500 now in the playoff picture as the 8 seed. But what worries me is the Spurs don't look like they're falling out. They've been
Mm-hmm.
solid there. They're 18 and 14 right now at the 7 seed, and they've kind of been hovering around 4 to 5 games above 500 all season long.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're the Mavs and the Warriors, unless the Spurs take a major dip, which it doesn't look like they're going to do, those two teams are fighting for an 8 seed right now. And
Yeah.
of course, you have the play-in. In one game, maybe the Warriors beat the Spurs in the 7-8 or 9-10 matchup. So maybe it doesn't matter that much. But
Mm-hmm.
those two teams, I'm excited down the line. We're going to see them jockeying for position a lot and see if the
Mm-hmm.
Spurs can still keep up the high pace they're playing at right now.
Okay, yeah, well, let's talk about this trade that you proposed, Porzingis for Miles Turner. I just want to say, like,
You're going
I
to
don't.
say no because you want Miles Turner on the Celtics.
Well, no, it's not even that. It's just if I'm the Pacers, I'm not doing this deal because I'm looking at a few factors. One, I think they value Miles Turner, who, by the way, is like a Defensive Player of the Year candidate right now. Outstanding numbers. I did want him on the Celtics. We could have had him easily, but I'm not still salty, as you can tell. But he's been nice, and also Malcolm Brogdon. Even though he's like 26, he's older. He's really been nice for this team. Nice veteran leadership, and so I don't think they get rid of him for an injury-prone Porzingis. I mean, maybe if I'm the Pacers, maybe if you throw 2 to 3 firsts, which I think would be a lot to begin with. Yeah, and Porzingis on top of that injury. Porzingis is not getting any younger, and I don't know if he really fits the scheme of that team, because then you're losing 2 starters. And that was the problem that Danny Ainge had when he wanted 2 of their starters at the time. And the Pacers were like, no, that's ridiculous. So I think if on the Pacers I don't do this deal, if it's the Mavericks, of course want to do this deal, that'd be awesome to have. I'd love to see Malcolm Brogdon pair it with Luka. Not a bad trade, but I just don't see the Pacers necessarily doing that unless there's some added bonuses, 2 or 3 first, like I said.
Right.
So, but it'd be an exciting trade. I mean, I still think the Mavericks should keep Porzingis at least till the end of the season. Give him a shot. Don't trade him out there. He hasn't been there that long.
Yeah, and they were putting up a pretty good fight against the Clippers when he was healthy.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what the Mavericks situation is right now because Porzingis is such a good player when he's healthy, but he's never healthy, and there's not really a whole lot to get back from him. So you could wait. Maybe he and Luka gel really well, and you don't need to trade him. You could wait. Maybe his stock rises and you can get something better. Or you could wait and his stock plummets because he tears another ACL, and all of a sudden you're just getting a second rounder for him. So he's such a difficult position right there because you don't want to lose Luka. That's priority number one. You want to keep him happy. And this team is a playoff team because of what Luka has done for them, because he kept them in, even though they were a 10th, 11th seed for a while, he kept them in that discussion where they only needed to go on a 3 or 4 game winning streak to get in there, which is why Luka deserves more MVP discussion than he's getting, in my opinion. So I don't think Porzingis is on the move. I agree with you. And I do think the Mavs still will make the playoffs. I had them as the 4 seed, I believe, earlier. So not looking as good for me, but I still think they make it.
I think it's very possible. Yeah. Look, for what he's doing, I think I say it again and again at such a young age. I think it's really impressive. When Porzingis is healthy, he's a pretty considerably reliable second option. But the problem is the injuries kind of counteract that, and he can't be as reliable. So Luka, the Mavericks just need a second star. They need to help Luka because Luka can't do this by himself, especially when his team is all he has besides Porzingis is like Josh Richardson, Tim Hardaway, Dorian Finney-Smith, Maxi Kleber. Like that's not enough to be a contending team. Very good team, a lot of moves to be made, but I think either a second star or facilitator outside of Luka Doncic, or just a really nice, solid perimeter 3-and-D defender. Maybe like get Rocco cheap. I don't know I forgot how Rocco's contract's looking right now with the Blazers. But if they could get Rocco, maybe if he's a free agent next season, or maybe they could do some tiny trade, maybe a second round pick and somebody like a Dwight Powell. I think Rocco.
I don't think the Blazers are giving up on Robert Covington, and it's the 5 seed, especially.
I didn't think. I think he's solid on that team, but I mean that's I'm just brainstorming here. Somebody, because I wanted to say Paul Millsap, but he's getting older. When he was younger, nice scorer, really when he's healthy, solid perimeter defender, really nice perimeter defender. Right. But he's getting up there, so I didn't really want to say that. But yeah, I think Mavericks are in a okay position. They just need a couple steps, a couple things before they reach that next step. So
all right. Well, a team that I was really excited to talk about coming into this episode is the 6 seed, 18-18 Miami Heat. Now, I, for one, thought they were going to underachieve a little bit this season compared to what they did last year. Coach Z, Mr. Mercier, and Jack all thought they'd still be on that championship high. They'd still be able to perform at a high level. So, Nate, what do they need to do to put themselves in the upper echelon of the Eastern Conference?
I think, honestly, they need a reliable I think they need a reliable power forward. I think that's what's going to propel them into that next spot because you have Tyler Hero and you have Goran Dragic and Kendrick Nunn. Those are all solid at your backcourt positions. But Kelly Olynyk, like he's okay. He's okay. I love him to death. Him and I think Myers Leonard also switched over from center to power forward. Those are not power forwards on a championship team. They are solid bench pieces. I think I'd be willing. The trade deadline's coming up. I'd be willing to move at least one of them for a little bit of a better power forward. I just don't know what real star power forwards are going to be available at this trade deadline right now. And because Bam's a really nice stretch 5. I don't think they need necessarily a stretch 4. I would like to see just a very nice defending inside scoring like a traditional power forward kind of thing. I don't know. Do you have any ideas, any power forwards that might fit nicely
I
alongside
do,
Bam?
because if I'm looking at this team, everything stayed the same except for one piece. That's Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder is the perfect fit for this lineup, and I doubt they're getting him back. You got to aim for a Robert Covington type, a Marcus Morris type, even to a lesser extent, a Royce
Marcus
O'Neal
Morris.
for the Utah Jazz.
I
Just
like him. I actually like him a lot.
you need a stretch forward that can also defend, because
Mhm.
Kelly Olynyk is just not going to cut it in the playoffs, and
No.
he's not even cutting it right now. That's why they're 18-18.
Yeah.
And could we put a little bit more blame on Tyler Hero? The Heat definitely seem. I don't know if they ever really had a shot with James Harden. Um, but if they really said, you know what, we would rather have Tyler Hero, they're kind of looking pretty stupid right now, because Tyler Hero has taken a massive step back from his performance in the bubble.
Yeah.
Duncan Robinson, teams have kind of figured him out. He's no longer like a mystery guy.
As
Everybody
lethal.
knows who he is because of
Yeah.
how great he played in the bubble.
Well, he's
But
kind of, in a way, he's one-dimensional, and I think
yes,
that's why it was so easy to figure out because he's shooting. He's straight up shooting. At least Tyler Hero has some things in his bag. Great, really solid passer, pretty decent finisher. So he hasn't taken as heavy a decline as Duncan Robinson. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they're both great players, but yeah, they suffer from bubble syndrome,
well, and
as I think I'm
everybody
going to start calling it.
last
Everybody was either like super low and they showed their weaknesses in the bubble, or they were super high and doing well. But now we come out of the bubble back into our regular NBA setting, and all of a sudden it's not as lethal. The Heat are not as lethal. They're starting to look better and better. I'm glad they're on this kind of stretch. It's good to see him back with Jimmy Butler at the helm. But yeah, what were you gonna say?
what was I gonna say? I don't know, but if you're the sixth seed right now, you might as well forfeit your playoff entry, because you're either going to be playing the Bucks, the Nets, or the 76ers. And what I
Mm-hmm.
was going to say is the Heat last year, they just took a lot of teams by surprise. They all kind of took on that Duncan Robinson identity of, you don't
Yeah.
know who I am, but I'm actually really good. Like Bam Adebayo, of course, he made the All-Star team last year, but after the bubble, people were saying he's better than Karl Anthony Towns, he's better than Gobert, putting him in that upper echelon of centers. Jimmy
Mm-hmm.
Butler the same way. He got trashed a little bit for getting that massive deal with the Heat. Everyone said the Heat were going to stink. Butler couldn't play well with them, and he caught everybody off guard. Tyler Hero didn't even make the first team All Rookie. Came into the bubble, caught everybody off guard.
Mm-hmm.
Dragic looked washed, came in, caught everybody off guard. Now everybody knows what to expect from them, and
Mm-hmm.
so everybody's giving them their best. So it's not like they can sneak up on teams anymore, and they really do need a stretch for a defensive-minded power forward, because Jay Crowder was one of their better players last year. He can knock it down from three. He is willing
Mm-hmm.
to defend the other team's best player 1 through 5,
Yeah.
and he takes some of that stress off of Jimmy Butler, because who's going to guard uh, take an Eastern guy, Kyrie Irving, in a 7-game series? Tyler Hero, Duncan. I really don't want Jimmy Butler wasting his all of his
Well, in that scenario,
energy.
you also have got KD and James Harden to worry
Okay, maybe
about.
the 76ers
So
would be a better option, or a team that only has like one dominant guard, because you don't want to waste Jimmy Butler's energy when he has to just focus on locking down the other team's best
yeah,
player.
he's the leader of this team. He is the lone superstar of this team. So a lot of it's on his shoulders. Anything to take the stress off your superstar is always welcomed, is always warranted if you're making a playoff push. I think I was never big on the Heat last year, and they surprised me. I said like first round exit, and then they end up in the finals. This is more of what I was expecting. They're still solid, but this season is what I was expecting to happen last season.
Right.
And it's kind of the opposite of how, like, this is how I thought, like, when we were talking about the last video, Utah, I thought Utah would be like this last season, kind of flip-flop. But, yeah, I don't know, man. If the Heat have to see the Sixers or the Nets, I don't know if they're going to make it past the first round, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, but I do have to say this: as long as they make it to the playoffs, Eric Spoelstra does give them a chance. I think this is one
Mhm.
rare instance. There are only a few coaches: Toronto Raptors, Nick Nurse; Miami Heat, Eric Spoelstra. I think those are the two coaches where I say no matter who you're playing, you kind of have a chance, just because they can game plan for anybody. They've seen everything.
They're
But
great coaches, both of them. Terrific coaches.
they're going to have to get home court advantage, I think, if they want to go far in the playoffs. Eric Spoelstra, I love him as a coach. He's a great coach, but he can't game plan for KD, Kyrie, and James Harden and Joe Harris. And now let's
Blake
get
Griffin.
to it. Blake Griffin, Brooklyn Nets. What do they have to do to solidify themselves as a runaway contender? Is there anything they have to do? And how does Blake Griffin fit with them?
I like the fit of Blake Griffin. He's going to be reunited with DeAndre Jordan, which I'm excited to see, even though they're a bit older and kind of – I don't want to say –
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but I have a question real quick.
Okay, shoot.
So you said you like the addition of Blake Griffin.
Mm-hmm.
What is Blake Griffin good at? Because I can't really think of anything anymore.
Oh, come on. Don't do my man Blake. He's just been hurt recently. Blake's never been the greatest shooter, but I think he helps him finishing, and I think there's a slight edge. He's not the greatest defender, but he's going to give them he's going to help my man DeAndre Jordan down there. They're both very defensive-oriented. I think Blake Griffin, to me, is a slightly better defender than he is offensive player, and that's what I think the biggest problem with the Brooklyn Nets is just defense. James Harden doesn't play much defense. He has been playing more recently, which I'm excited to see because, make him probably the most well-rounded player. If James Harden could start locking down players, look out. That is scary right there. Kyrie's never been much of a defender. KD, solid. KD, you never have to really worry about defensively. But yeah, I think he brings a certain defensive edge, and I think they just need defense in their bench too. Because their bench, you have Dinwiddie and you have Joe Harris, both offensive-minded players. I don't know. I just think I need a little more defense on coming off their bench, and I need more defense on this team in general. And then I think they beat the Lakers.
I think I just don't want to see Steve Nash make either of these two mistakes. Number one, Joe Harris thrives in the starting role when he's surrounded by the other stars. His 3-point percentage this year is through the roof. He's been amazing for the Nets. So
I think he's a free agent after this year too. So that
they signed him for 4 years. 4 years, $64 million.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
So I don't want to see them messing up and putting Joe Harris on the bench, messing up his flow.
Yeah.
I think they found the perfect starting five, to be honest. And Harden at the 1. He's shown that he can dominate at point over the next winning streak. Kyrie at the 2. Joe Harris playing small forward. Bruce Brown at power forward. I really like him at power forward. He hustles, he defends, and KD at center.
The only thing I worry about Bruce Brown at the power is how he's a little undersized. But that's really I like his game. He's about 6'4", I believe, 6'4", 6'5". Little undersized for the power, but it is a small ball era. So, I don't mind that lineup. It's been working for him, obviously, so far. Blake Griffin, I think, does give him a little bit of defense off the bench. I don't know. I'd like to see a little more defense.
Well, I just don't see how he helps any aspect of this team because he is not athletic anymore. He hasn't dunked this year. He hasn't dunked last year. That athleticism
injury. Yeah, it's just injuries have derailed his career, essentially.
He started to become a better three-point shooter, but then he had a bunch of knee surgeries, doesn't get the same lift on his jump shot, has the worst three-point percentage in the NBA. Field goal percentage, second worst in the NBA, because a lot of that comes from threes because he's not explosive enough to drive by guys and get easy layups. I guess you could say he's not a minus defender, but he's not really switchable. He's, especially now due to all of his injuries, he's going to be kind of stagnant out there. He's more of a hide him on KCP in the corner type of guy at this point in his career.
Look, we get it. He's not the best shooter, but I still think he brings at least a little bit defense, and I think he's a strong finisher still. I think he still play. He has some good inside scoring left in him.
I didn't know you liked Blake Griffin so much.
I don't mind. I've never had a problem with Blake Griffin. I liked what he did those first couple of years in Detroit. I don't know. I want to root for Blake Griffin. I think he's a likable guy, and there's still things. He is not completely washed up. He is not like if the Brooklyn Nets signed J.R. Smith, and there's just what was the point? I think he's still got some fight in him. Who knows? He may surprise you and come out and maybe drop 10 points off the bench.
But the thing is, he's too small to play power forward or center. He's 6'8", and he's not athletic enough like Bruce Brown.
That's bigger than Bruce Brown.
But he's not athletic enough where you can fit him into the Bruce Brown spot, I don't think.
See, I didn't realize you hated Blake Griffin.
And he's not skilled enough to play small forward or shooting guard or point guard. He's an enigma because he's not really good. He's not really good at anything.
Oh, see, that's just disrespectful, my man. He's good. He's a solid inside scorer. He may be slow and he may be injury prone, but it's still
And he may be short, 6'8", 6'7".
6'8" is not short. When you tell me that Bruce Brown is perfect at power forward, but he's
But I'm not
6'4",
expecting Bruce. At least Bruce Brown has given me something on defense.
6'8" is not short for a power forward.
But
Rui Hachimura plays power forward at 6'8".
at least Bruce Brown will give me something on defense. I don't think Blake Griffin is giving anything anywhere.
I don't know. That remains to be seen. I think it's a solid addition. You obviously hate him with all of your heart, obviously, as much as you talk down on him. He could surprise all of us. He could come out there and drop and just watch him come out and drop like 60% from three, man.
On 3 for 5. He's not getting any more than that. All right, Nate, you got me angry now. Let's move on. What team do you want to talk about next?
Let's talk about my favorite team to talk about, the Boston Celtics. We got to talk about them at least once an episode.
Okay.
I think Celtics started playing a little bit better together. It's good to see. They were in a bit of a rut. All of a sudden, Kimba's playing better. I've heard a little bit of silence in the trade Kimba movement that I was complaining about. And I've heard a little bit of silence in the fire Brad Stevens movement, a little bit. Not much changed. I still think Danny Ainge needs to go at some point, but I don't think he's the GM of our future, if I'm being completely honest. But I think what the Boston Celtics really need outside of a starting caliber center, which is what I've been preaching for the last 2 to 3 seasons. Miles Turner would have been perfect. Nikola Vucevic would more offensive minded. Celtics really need a presence on the inside for
You know what I say? Unleash Robert Williams.
I want him to get more minutes. I love Time Lord. Time Lord's great. Little undersized for a center at 6'9", but hey, I mean, I'm not opposed to it with him. And what you give me that look for?
It's funny because I'm thinking about the Blake Griffin.
Oh my god, yeah. But yeah, see, he's not that much taller than Blake Griffin. He's playing center.
Well, that's because he can jump.
Yeah, Time Lord's great. I don't know. I would right now, like a starting caliber center would be great. We need blocks and we need boards. We need paint protection. I think that solves a lot of problems with rebounding, paint protection. But also, ever since Gordon Hayward left, our really only facilitator has been Marcus Smart, and he's been in and out with injury. So I think this team really needs another facilitator. Like Gordon Hayward was really that glue piece, and now we're starting to see how much his absence, and especially for nothing, really hurt them. So yeah, I think another facilitator, another ball handler, and playmaker would be really nice for the Celtics team. What do you think?
I think they do have. Well, I'm actually gonna ask you a question real quick. So Marcus Smart is. I'm not sure if he's coming back before the trade deadline. I believe he is, but I'm not quite sure. So let's say he doesn't come back before the trade deadline. They go on a bit of a losing streak. Should the Celtics rush and trade a piece because they don't know what they're getting back in Marcus Smart? Or do they say, we had this exact team, made it to the conference finals, we know what we can be, let's wait it out?
I don't know. There's not when I think about that question, there's not many pieces I'd be willing to trade right now outside of maybe Tristan Thompson. I know he just got here. But Tristan, and I was, I tried to look at it as positive. Jeff Teague and Tristan Thompson, yay! But Tristan Thompson really doesn't tickle my fancy anymore. And I kind of, at first I was upset about it, but then I kind of came around, and now I'm back to where I was, and I really don't want him on the squad. Even though apparently he was a Celtics fan growing up, which is weird. Yeah, I think if you're willing to trade him or like Jeff Teague or something and get a nice facilitator, that's fine. But other than that, I don't know any other pieces I'd really want to trade at this point. I think maybe our best bet is to just work this team till the end of the season.
That's what I'm thinking. And the Celtics have a reputation of not making big moves. They like to throw their name into every conversation. They were in the running for Anthony Davis way back when.
The biggest thing I can remember the Celtics like actually being in on, I remember them being in on the KD signing. Yes. Almost got KD. The Kyrie trade was pretty big at the time, even though it only lasted 2 seasons, which is sad because love you, IT. I'm sorry you're not on the I wish he was on a team right now. That was probably the biggest move I think I've ever seen Danny H make was Kyrie, and I didn't even see it coming. I didn't even think he was going to pull the trigger on that one.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. I think it's time. I think we just need to finish out the season, let it be what it be. I think maybe Whether it's second round exit or if it's Eastern Conference Finals against, I personally think the Nets are going to be in that conversation. And then we just need to assess at the end of the season. Just give it some thought. We're still a little bit away from a championship, an actual championship contender that can actually do some damage, make the actual finals, because we come so close in recent years. We got a lot of young pieces. I'm excited about the future, but I think this has just been a bad season all around. I think we just need to step back and reassess.
Yeah, I definitely say wait it out. Marcus Smart is a big piece. Once they get him back, I think the tide turns a little bit. And then in the offseason, you try to make some magic happen. You got to hold on to Brown and Tatum at all costs. I don't think they complement each other very well as players right now. They're very similar in play style, but they're still too good to split them up.
Yeah.
They could – flashes of Kawhi and PG, maybe. I don't know if I'm going to get hate for saying that, but
maybe it's a scoring aspect. I think they're both good defenders. I wouldn't put them in the realm of defense as Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Maybe that's the only reason you'll get a little hate for that.
But I definitely like that. I don't necessarily like how they work as a duo, but I like those two individual players. They're too good to move on from.
I like the production. I really like their styles of play, even though they don't really feed off of each other very well. I still think, I don't think it'd be time to split them up unless it's absolutely necessary.
Then you have fast PP, Peyton Pritchard at point.
God, he's been so nice. Oh my God, it's been a breath of fresh air. I remember complaining about him getting drafted because there was other point guards on that board that I would have preferred. Like, I love that we have backup point guards. Been really surprising, but really a really happy surprise. So I'm glad. He's actually been outplaying Aaron Nesmith, who we took with a higher pick. So, I mean, glad to have him on the squad, though. Really nice.
Yeah. All right. Next team I'd like to talk about here. Actually, I have two, if you don't mind. First, let's talk about the Houston Rockets, mainly because Victor Oladipo turned down an extension from the Rockets. What do you think? Well, actually, I'll start real quick because I have some opinions about Victor Oladipo that I did not have before.
Oh, go shoot.
He used to be one of my favorite players, but now he is stuck in the past. He is Blake Griffin. He is stuck in the past. He made one All-Star game, and now he thinks he's worth a max contract. I understand that must be a hard pill to swallow when you go from being someone that is all NBA caliber to being decent, slightly above average. But he has to take a reality check, and it's not like KD where you get injured and you still can expect a max coming back because you've proven it for 10 seasons before. Oladipo proved it for one season. He had a great season, took LeBron to 7 games in the playoffs. But I think he's got to take a step back and realize that he has to redeem himself. He has to show that he is an elite player again. And there's just been too many rumors coming out where you start to question Oladipo as not just a player but off the court, whether it's apparently asking the Heat, the Knicks, and the Raptors, can I play with you guys in front of his teammates? And all of these contract extensions that he's turned down. And when he was going to the bubble but didn't want to play. There are just too many things with him where I start to question not only what he's like as a player, but what he's like as a teammate, if he's someone you really want to have along for the long haul. But I want to hear your opinion on it because they haven't had Christian Wood, so they have been struggling. The Rockets have. Maybe that's part of the reason Oladipo is waiting for a contract extension to see how the Rockets turn out. But what do you think?
I think if he had never had that injury, he definitely would be worth a max contract right now. But yeah, obviously, I don't think he's as good. I still think he's a solid piece. I think many teams would love to have him, especially. I think with Oladipo, the reality check, what I think he needs to realize is not necessarily that he's not that guy anymore. It's that he needs a year on a small contract somewhere to prove himself.
Right.
Kind of like how I felt about it's kind of like the Blazers deal last year with Hassan Whiteside. Really just 1 year to kind of prove yourself and prove you're worth a little bit more money, even though Hassan Whiteside I thought was going to get paid and then he did not get paid. But I think Oladipo's better than Hassan Whiteside.
Sure.
I think he goes to the Heat or something and he proves he's a valuable piece. He drops 15 to 20 points a game, like 4 or 5 assists. Then maybe we can talk more money. But yeah, I don't think he's worth a max contract. But like if I can get him on like a 2-year $25 million deal, I do that.
Yeah.
or 3-year 35. Yeah, I think that's it's he just needs he just needs to go to a team that's willing to offer him a low risk, high reward. It's low risk, high reward to give him a small contract so he can play and prove himself.
He would
And
fit well with
then
the Mavericks.
I think he's really good defensively. I would like to see that pairing if you put Luke at the point guard position.
Yeah.
Luka's a nice facilitator. I think he works great at the point guard when he does play there. I wouldn't absolutely hate that for them. I think he'd be better than I think he's better than Josh Richardson.
Yeah.
To be
I agree
honest,
with that.
and having Josh Richardson coming off your bench, not such a bad thing unless they try to play him at the small forward and then have Tim Hardaway, which I don't know. It would depend. But I don't hate that deal. Do you have an ideal place that you think Oladipo would fit well, or is the Mavericks that ideal place?
Mavericks might be that ideal place. I don't mind his fit with the Toronto Raptors. That is a good place to rejuvenate your career. See Kawhi Leonard.
Under a good coach, still got some nice pieces on that squad.
For sure, yeah, that would be a good fit for him.
Mm-hmm.
The Nuggets maybe couldn't hurt them. Maybe it would stunt MPJ's growth a little bit. You got to worry on that front. And
I think he'd be a nice addition. I think he'd be a little bit better than Gary Harris.
Or the Pelicans. Pelicans need a scoring wing that can shoot, that can stretch the floor. You know, maybe he fits well there. I think he just needs a young team where he can kind of take a step back. And
I do like Toronto that he can mentor people like Terrence Davis, and I like the idea of him and assuming they trade Kyle Lowry out of there. The fit with him and Freddie VanVleet.
Right.
Who, I feel bad. Freddie VanVleet's kind of taken a little bit of a step back this season. But hey, I mean, I think he's still a solid point guard. I just like that fit. A little worried about Pascal though.
Yep. I'm a little worried about Pascal too. He is taking a step back, but he's
just shown that he is a great second option. And there's just what?
He is Giannis Antetokounmpo if he didn't hit the weight room. That's essentially what he is. All right, you ready to move on to the next team I was going to talk about?
Yeah, sure. Let's go for it.
All right. What do the Utah Jazz need to do to convince the average fan that they can take down the Lakers and the Nets and the Clippers, etc.?
I don't know. They're doing a pretty good job right now. I don't know what's with all this Utah Jazz hate. I think Utah Jazz is one of the not only to me are they most surprising. I knew they'd be good. Just how purely good they are. I think they just need to keep it going. To be honest, I can't think of many real pieces that they genuinely need. Donovan Mitchell's been killing it. Mike Conley has been really good, and so is Rudy Gobert. And I think they have nice bench depth too. With people like Royce O'Neal, who I really like. And so I don't know. I don't really have much I would want to change in Utah. Do you have someone in mind?
No, I will say this. Mike Conley took DeMar DeRozan's all-star spot. I'm happy for Mike Conley. He's like the gentleman of the NBA.
Yeah.
But you got the coach. The point of getting the head coach at the all-star game is to reward a team for being great.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to further reward them by giving them 3 players, which technically makes the Utah Jazz a super team. So
I mean, they had 3 players from the same team on the East. They just had to even it out on the West, man.
Good point. So is Utah technically a super team now since they have 3 All-Stars? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. They're definitely not.
Yeah, I don't know if Mike Conley is going to be one of your. I don't know. Mike Conley's not a superstar. He's like Donovan Mitchell is. I think Rudy Gobert is a star. One of the better centers in the league. Mike Conley. Yeah.
Rudy Gobert. He is. It looks like a little kid that was like 4 foot. Just all of a sudden grew to 7 feet tall, and they don't know how to control their body yet.
The disrespect. This is one of the best centers in the league. Arguably the best defensive center in the league.
I don't know. I think a lot of people have soured on Rudy Gobert. And back to your point about what the Jazz need to do to improve, unless they're getting a star, they just have so many guys that play their roles to perfection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what works for him. That's why he's been working this long and this far. So I don't see many. Why move a piece? That's why jeopardize everything so you can make a deal at the trade deadline. Just stick with what you got.
Yeah,
and see how far it goes. They for all I know could be facing the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. And not out of the realm of possibility. I think it'd be really fun series to see. But yeah, I think people need to just stop hating on the Utah Jazz. LeBron made some comments that I was not very fond of when he was drafting his team. I mean, I don't care how true they are. Okay, look, I love the Jazz, but I think he's right to an extent. The only time I really pick the Utah Jazz in 2K is when like I randomize it and I get the Utah.
Yeah.
But that's nothing against them. It's just I don't know how else to explain it. It's just like you just don't. Like,
You just
I have
don't.
other teams I'd rather play with. But God, am I feeding into the Utah Jazz hate? I don't mean it as
Don't
like
worry.
this.
Don't worry. People in Utah don't have they don't have Wi-Fi, so they won't ever see this.
I am interested to see the fallout of Donovan Mitchell's comments against LeBron, though.
Yeah.
I am interested to see that.
They put a target on their back. There was already a little bit of a target due to their record,
Mm-hmm.
but now all of a sudden they've kind of taken an us against the world mentality.
It's that edge. It's a chip on their shoulder, and that might be what gets them over that hump and makes
No,
them.
I think that might be what gets them taken out.
Oh, seriously? You think it plays against them?
I think it definitely plays against them because they are not good enough to, like, it's crazy to say it because they are the 1 seed and they are the best team in the NBA right now. But they are not good enough where they can say, I'm going to take this personally and get 10 times better. LeBron, the established superstars that have shown they have another gear can do that. But when you're a team that is based off of the sum of your parts, like Donovan Mitchell might turn to Bojan Bogdanovic and say, hey, they're hating on us. Let's play better. But if Bojan Bogdanovic then turns to Royce O'Neal, who then turns to Jordan Clarkson, the message gets lost there a little bit down the shuffle.
See, I'd have to disagree with you on that. I think that chip is what helped the Miami Heat make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. And I think Utah could make the Western Conference. I think this chip is going to make the difference. But you think it plays against them, and that's perfectly fine. It very well could.
Right.
It very well could. They could get full of themselves, this us versus the world and our mentality, and then ends up getting us the second round exit. Very possible. I just don't personally see it happening because of the way they play. I think they play really nice together. I think there's a lot of good chemistry. Let's talk about Toronto a little bit.
You want to get a start? Or you want me to?
You know what? I feel like I've been talking a little bit more than you, so you go ahead and start this one.
I feel the opposite. I feel like I've been talking more.
Oh, you feel like you've been talking more? I don't know, man.
I'm happy to talk some more.
Yeah, let's go Toronto. Let's do it.
The Raptors. So the main thing that we're going to be talking about with the Raptors is the Kyle Lowry situation. Do they trade him or do they keep him? Because there's definitely speculation that he could go to management and say, I want to play for a contender, whether that's the 76ers or the not the Suns, the Lakers or Clippers have all been teams that have been.
Wasn't that already established? Didn't the executives actually say that they were going to trade him to a contender? It's like it was a respect thing.
I don't think they said they were going to. I think they said if he comes to us and says he wants to be moved to a contender, then they would do it. I don't think they would just blindside him. I think he's earned that because he's the greatest.
I think he has earned that. Yeah,
he's the greatest Toronto Raptor of all time. It's not, in my opinion, debatable. He's been there basically forever. It feels like he's won a championship with them. He's been a part of all of those. I mean, the Raptors are a dynasty, kind of, in the way that they've been really good for the past decade. They're in that tier.
I don't think that makes you a dynasty, though. Dynasty implies winning. Like the New England Patriots in football. That's 20 years,
maybe not
6 Super Bowl titles. That is a dynasty.
Maybe not a dynasty, but they are in the 2010s. They're
always a contender, no matter what.
The San Antonio Spurs, in my opinion, because
that's just solid. That's just I wouldn't call that a dynasty, but yeah, they're always in playoff content, always in the playoffs, always one of the better teams in the East, no matter what.
Yeah,
so,
I definitely don't see them moving Lowry. I think he sticks it out, especially now since they're starting to find their rhythm. It wouldn't make sense. I could have seen it happen maybe earlier in the season, but now that they're 17 and 19, 8th seed in the Eastern Conference, I think they do stick it out. I just have a lot of faith in this team. The Raptors, I think this might get me a lot of hate, but I think they can beat any team in the East besides the Nets. Put them in a 7-game series. I give them the advantage, to be honest, over the 76ers and the Bucks.
I'd have to disagree with you on that, especially 76ers play, especially with Joel Embiid's play and the play of Danny Green and Seth Curry, which really addressed the needs that I said I had problem with them. They have that nice little shooting edge. Ben Simmons been kind of in a rhythm. Joel Embiid's been playing outstanding. I think this season proved, at least it proved to me I was right, that Joel Embiid is the best center in basketball. In my opinion, Joel Embiid is over Jokic. I'm taking Embiid. But no, I'd have to disagree with you on that. And I'd also have to disagree with you on them keeping him. I think they move him, honestly. I think they just I feel like they just feel like it's time to move on. Honestly, he's not getting any younger. I mean, the production's still there, but I think they're roaring and ready to kind of to get him out of there and let this be Freddie VanVleet's team, in my opinion. And they also we need to address Pascal. I don't know what's going on, but there are guys, and it's nothing wrong with it, that are just always going to be a better second option than a first option. And I think Pascal is very good defender, very good scorer. It's just I just don't think he needs to be the leader of this team. And I'm sorry, that's an unfortunate fact. They need somebody else to take over. But yeah, I don't know. I just get this feeling that they're really sincere about moving on from Kyle Lowry. I could be wrong, but I feel like they're just trying to ship him out of there for some reason. I hope he goes to a contender. I think I don't know what would be the best spot for him. Maybe Miami, maybe Philadelphia, maybe Milwaukee. I don't know. I don't know if they necessarily want to trade him to a contender in the East either.
Right.
Maybe
They
a
don't want to
contender in
stay
the
long
West.
But I don't see what Western Conference teams really need to have a need for a.
The Clippers.
The Clippers are a good one. The
I can see that
Nuggets.
trade going down.
The Nuggets kind of intrigue me. Because Jamal Murray has kind of started to play all-star caliber ball recently.
Are you moving Jamal Murray to a shooting guard, or are you having Kyle Lowry come off the bench
I'm moving
in Denver?
I'm moving Jamal Murray to shooting guard. I think that's his more natural position. But does I don't know what would make this work though for the Raptors. I think Michael Porter Jr. is way too much to ask, but I think the Raptors
Oh yeah, 100%, way too much to ask.
But I think the Raptors are going to be looking for someone like that, a young up and coming star, because that's what Lowry
Bol.
Bol. Maybe it is Bol. Maybe it's some picks. Maybe it's Facundo Campazzo. They have to throw.
Facundo.
But I think he fits well with the Nuggets. It's just a matter of what are you aiming to get back from him?
What are you aiming to get back? Yeah, because I don't know. I see Clippers being slightly more realistic. Like I could see them asking for like a first round pick.
But they don't have
Kevin Gele and Luke Kennard.
They don't really have much to offer. The cabinet is bare after what they did with the Thunder.
I mean, they got nice. I mean, I don't think they're going to move on. They're not going to move like Serge. They're not going to move on. I don't think from Reggie. I mean, Lou Will and Pat Bev have been in conversations.
Yeah, but I don't think that gets it done.
It might. A combination of them with some picks and maybe Mufondu Kabengele. Maybe they'd accept a young little center or power forward. I don't know. He could end up going to a team that we haven't even mentioned, but his value is kind of hard to determine because I don't think I would give him away for like a second round pick and a bum, but I'm not asking for so much that it's like I'm not asking for a superstar in return. I don't know. That's just how I think
you can ask for a little bit more for Kyle Lowry because of the market that they're shopping from. Because if you go to the Clippers and you say, this team is not good enough to beat the Lakers, you really need Kyle Lowry in here. Like, they can have leverage in this situation. They don't need to move Kyle Lowry. If Kyle Lowry says, I want to be moved, the Raptors could say no. Like, it would be bad, and they'd lose a lot of respect, but they have all the leverage in this situation. They don't need to move Lowry. They are not exactly competing for a championship right now. They're just trying to help out another team that is competing.
Yeah.
So in that vein, you could ask the Clippers for a little bit more than you would normally get for a Kyle Lowry because the window was closing. This might be your last good shot with Kawhi and PG.
It's very possible.
To be a contender, if you want to make it to the finals, and Kyle Lowry is truly that last piece you need, then you're going to have to throw in some young players that you might not want to give up. Same thing with basically all these teams down the line. If they all see and value Kyle Lowry that much that they think if you give us him, we are a championship contender, then the asking price for him goes way up, I think.
Yeah, that's a good point. Honestly, I don't know if Kyle Lowry necessarily – Maybe I'm just confused on if Kyle Lowry wants out. I don't think so. I think it's more management wants him gone. I think Kyle Lowry would be cool staying. I
Yeah,
think Kyle Lowry loves Toronto, and I think some of us are kind of holding out hope that there's a reunion. Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan.
one day.
I mean, it probably won't happen, but God, would it be fun to see?
It would be maybe on the Spurs. He can go be the veteran over there.
Didn't he used to play for the Spurs?
He played for the
I know he played for the
Rockets.
Rockets. Didn't he play for the Spurs one season?
I don't think so. I think he just
Or was it Rockets, Grizzlies, Toronto? Yeah, Toronto, Memphis, and Houston. So I was right.
okay.
Okay, never mind then. But hey, I wouldn't hate him in San Antonio. I don't know if San Antonio really wants him, but because of how DeJounte Murray has been playing and Derek White. But hey, I
Kevin
mean,
Johnson.
yeah. So I don't know. Wait, did you say? What'd you say?
Keldon Johnson.
Oh, I thought you said Devin Johnson. That's why I was so confused. I was like,
All right, moving
Kevin
on.
Johnson's really nice. I don't know. Maybe. Kyle Lowry's kind of a question mark. Will he get moved? Will he not? I don't. I personally think he will. But
All right, last team we're going to talk about for today. This took a lot longer than we were anticipating, so apologies if we didn't get to your team. The New Orleans Pelicans are the team I wanted to talk about next because they are 15-21, a hefty couple of games behind the Grizzlies for the 9 seed, or I mean for the 10 seed. Sorry, the Pelicans are a team with a lot of young talent and a lot of talent. Zion Williamson started the All-Star game last night, missed 5 dunks, but Brandon Ingram was an All-Star last year. They have the talent; it's there. Why are they 15-21, and what should the goal be, and how should they accomplish whatever the goal is that you set in place for them?
I don't know. Yeah, they're in a really good position. A lot of young, talented stars. Also, plethora upon plethora of draft picks. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's clicking. I thought the Steven Adams trade, would have a little bit more of effect. It's obviously not for some reason. Maybe I just have a problem. I don't see a lot of bench depth. Do you? I mean, outside of Jackson Hayes and Nikhil Alexander-Walker.
I just see a lack of floor spacing, and I didn't think it was really going to be a problem because it's like if you put LeBron, Giannis, and Joel Embiid on the same team, yes,
Yeah.
they all want to operate in the center, but when they're that good, floor spacing kind of goes out the window. And I thought it would be kind of similar to that when you have Ingram, Williamson, and not Rudy Gobert, Steven Adams, who's scoring the paint at a really high clip. I mean, Zion is an elite, the most elite, the best paint scorer in the league by the numbers, of course.
Mm-hmm.
There's still some guys I would take over him, but when he gets ahead of steam going to the rim, he's either going to score or he is going to move you out of the way and draw a foul. He's just too big, too strong, too quick, too athletic.
Yeah.
So I do think they need to open up the paint for him a little bit. I will say I think I was wrong on that front. But I don't think they need to open up the paint by removing or by getting rid of Steven Adams or Brandon Ingram. I just think they need to get another shooter out there because Lonzo Ball is just a taller Eric Bledsoe at this point. They're both pretty decent shooters. Lonzo has improved. Lonzo's a better passer, a better rebounder.
I think Kira Lewis is also someone to watch out for. I think he'll be really nice for the team. They need to move JJ Redick and get just a sharpshooter, I guess.
You know what interests me? It wouldn't be for this year, but do the Nets need Spencer Dinwiddie anymore? I would say no.
I just don't know if Spencer Dinwiddie. I don't know his contract situation. I
I
don't
don't
know if
know his trade value either. Like, you can't really trade an injured player right now, and unless they just want a JJ Redick, and that might be all they want. Maybe they do it, and then next year the Pelicans start to click a little bit more. I think he would fit pretty well next to Zion or next to Lonzo in the back.
I think it'll be solid. Or which one are you moving to the 2?
Spencer for sure.
Okay, I just want to clear that up. Yeah, I wouldn't absolutely hate that, but like we also got to think: does Spencer Dinwiddie value winning, or is he going to value maybe getting a slightly bigger contract in like New Orleans? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
does he want to leave the Nets? I mean, Nets, I think, are looking good at a champion, or looking like a real championship contender. So, does he want to move? I'd love to see him go somewhere else and just shine.
Yeah.
I didn't like the fact that the Nets traded that young core. I really like the Dinwiddie, Levert, Jared Allen trio. I thought that was the future of this team, but hey, you know, what do I know? KD, Kyrie, and Harden all came to town. So I don't know. I'd like to see him go somewhere and shine. Pelicans are definitely a team up there. I think should get him. That'd be very fun to see. I actually like that a lot. Do we think again? Do we see like the Mavericks in play?
No, I don't think for Dinwiddie. I think they need a more defensive-minded player up there with Luka in the backcourt.
That's true.
All right, so
Yeah, I like that.
All right, so I think we can call it there. Nate had a great time debating with you today, especially about Blake Griffin.
Same, my friend.
So see you guys next time on the Debate Mates.
Bye, guys.